Well, welcome in everyone. I'm Jay Smith, and alongside my co-host Bradley Kendall, and tonight we're joined by Adam Pehowski and Alex Pierce for a very special edition of After Further Review. And tonight we're going to be giving our own takes on whether college athletes should receive compensation for their likeness and should be paid in some form. So Bradley, after further review?
To pay or not to pay? That is the question.
Yeah, and fellas, like I said, we're going to basically just kind of go around and discuss our different opinions on whether or not college athletes should be paid. I know we're kind of split. I think we've got two guys over here that are against it. We've got two guys that are for it. So, Bradley, why don't you go ahead and start off the discussion and kind of give us your opinions on it?
I mean, for the longest time, I've kind of been against it. People talk about, schools can just, give players the money that they have, from TV deals and stuff like that. I get that. I can get why people might be a little shady on that with the whole Title IX thing and, how are you going to separate it out amongst some of the players. My take on it, though, personally is I don't see why, a regular student can't go out there and, sign an autograph for money, theoretically. Probably nobody would take it. Why can't an athlete do that? That's kind of where I stand on it. If they're so-called student athletes, then the student part should come into play there as like a normal college student. Even though they are an athlete and they are a student that plays sports, they should be able to go out and make money on a side of the street for an autograph. It shouldn't be. NCAA shouldn't be able to control that. That's kind of my take on it.
But don't you think that? Again, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you also have to think about the fact that the athletes are put on the setting and the stage that they're placed on by the university. Without the university's prestige or them putting forth the money to field the team and signing the television contracts and all of the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes into getting a football game on national TV, that's the university doing all that work there. So I don't feel like the athlete should be able to go out. I mean, yes, they put in a lot of work, whether it's off season or preparing for games or, for all sports, not just football. But at the same time, the university is putting them in that position, whether it's with tutors or with nutritionists or with strength coaches or with mental coaches. So I just feel like that because they have all of that, that normal students don't have access to. I mean, I can't go down to Vickery Hall and get tutoring unless I'm somehow tied to the athletic program. So that's kind of where I draw the line, and I'm not quite okay with them going out and selling a jersey or signing autographs, But that's just my opinion. What do you have to say?
Well, really the biggest thing in my opinion is how much they're given already. We've got to look here. The tuition for Clemson is $28,000 roughly.
In state.
Yeah, that's in state.
Yeah.
If you're coming out of state, man, you're paying close to $32,000.
I think it's closer to
year.
40, isn't it? I think out of state for Clemson.
Out of state for me, I'm paying 40. Yeah.
I looked it up today, and it was 30. I think it was 32,500, some roughly in that area. So and if you multiply that by 4, that's close. That's over $100,000 that they are basically given, and the chance for a free education should be enough. I say this, and I have a lot of friends that are student athletes, but if you're given the chance for a free education, you shouldn't have to sell your name, in my opinion. Also, I think that high school, you were recruited from high school, and that's great, but in high school, you did not make your name, okay? We're going to use Deshaun Watson for an example. Deshaun Watson did not receive his name in high school. Yes, he was one of the best quarterbacks to come out of Georgia, and he was very well known in Georgia. But who really knew about him in high school outside of the state of Georgia? Maybe a few people in South Carolina.
So he didn't have the national.
Yeah, he did not have his national
national household name, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes. But then when he comes to Clemson, that's when he starts to build. First year, there were some people that were like, this boy's going to be good.
There was hype within the Clemson community.
There was
hype within the Clemson community.
And we were like, this guy's going to be great. And then as the years progressed and he started playing, he started to earn that name, or his name, I guess you could say.
Then why should you keep him if he's earned that name? If he's earned that through hard work over the years, becoming good, becoming a national player, why should you hinder him from being able to use that to his advantage to go out and make money? Because he's come from a poor background. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yes.
A lot of
his family had little to nothing
across multiple sports.
He basically had to get a football scholarship to even come to college.
Yeah, remember he was blessed with that football scholarship.
Of course
and he'll say that too. He was blessed with that scholarship.
Now I don't know Adam, how if you feel the same way,
I kind of feel the same way you do. Like, why should Deshaun Watson not be able to make money if he's the one putting in the effort and throwing the footballs for touchdowns? You know, he's the one making a name for himself. Why should he not be able to, like, sell a shirt that says Deshaun Watson or something like that?
Just so I understand your point of view, you know, I don't want to speak for both of you, but because he's out there sacrificing his body and his time and effort on the field.
I wouldn't say sacrificing. It's more like
He's taken a lot of hits for the team. He's done a lot for the university.
He's an entertainer.
He's done a lot. I mean, you can argue whether or not they should be paid, but you can't argue with the fact that Deshaun has put Clemson on the map.
But he's not there for Clemson. He's there for himself, technically. His first idea of coming to Clemson to play football is not, I'm going to come to represent Clemson. He's there for
that's
himself.
Something that he mentions in almost every post-game interview is, I wanted to represent the university well. I want to represent Coach Sweeney well. I mean, that's obviously a reflection.
Good person for that. He's saying that.
Sure, but I mean, you know.
I feel that he actually means that.
Yeah,
I think he does too.
That's not one priority on his list.
That's not necessarily the only thing
his number one priority, I
to
feel, was to get an education. I think that he came here to get an education and to play football and have fun with his time here at Clemson.
1A, 1B.
And that's something that a lot of athletes, they'll come and they may not finish their degree. I mean, Deshaun finished his degree in three and a half years.
Which is great.
That is
and that's something that you're seeing more and more, especially at Clemson. I think Clemson ranks like second or third in the country when it comes to getting, I think is it athletes or just football players?
I think it's athletes.
It's gotta be athletes,
in general, getting them to graduate. And that's something that you see like in college basketball especially.
Yes.
Guys at Kentucky or Duke, they just go straight to the NBA, and they don't even get their degree. And I mean, to have the opportunity to attend a world-class institution like Duke University for basically nothing, and to have all of that offered to you in terms of, like, again, tutoring or, because not everybody's going to go professional, and there's a lot of resources in the athletic department that go into life coaching and career placement, and they, all those people do amazing work. But
I think that kind of raises a different question, though. Like, if you're talking about, football players obviously graduate. Well, basketball, you can leave after 1 year. Football, you have to stay for 3 years. So it's a little bit on a different scale, but I see what you're saying on that, yeah. My personal take is, it's not like we're saying the school is giving them the money. Obviously, they're giving them a 4-year access to an education. They're giving them the access to all this, great stuff in the football facility. They're not the ones giving them the money, though, personally, that we're talking with autographs here. They're making them sign stuff for free, but if they want to go out and do it on their own, that's on their personal time.
Because I'm curious, what would you consider prizes or stuff that the players get from bowl games? I mean, I was walking past a football player today, and he had on his watch from the ACC championship. His backpack was the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, and he was decked out in his national championship, the gear that they give them for the game, the media day. What does that fall? Because that's kind of a gray area, right? I mean, it's technically not provided by the university or boosters. It's
provided by the bowl itself.
The bowl
provides
and the corporate
that,
sponsors.
It's the perk of being part of the team.
That's a totally different topic, I feel, because that doesn't really have to do with the university. But like scholarships.
But is that not some form of compensation for their work?
Yes.
Is that, because if I wanted to purchase something like that, it's in the bookstores on sale for $250.
But so the bowl game itself does not, and they're not obligated to give them. They do it as out of the generous of their hearts to give these players.
Well, you really think they're just giving them all that?
They give them, for them, congratulations for making it to the bowl.
That's a lot of congratulations.
There's a lot of perks. You look at the list of some of the major bowl games, like the New Year's Six and all the different things. The guys are walking with TVs.
There's a football player in my class, and one of their gifts or one of their prizes was a golden pair of wireless Beats that is probably close to $300.
Yeah, easily. So
that's crazy.
Congratulations,
but
you got that.
They earned
great. Yes, I think it's a wonderful thing to do to give them those incentives because But the thing is, that doesn't have anything to do with the university. Those gifts don't. Those are solely saying, hey, and like you said, you came and you were here and you deserve this.
And you worked hard during the season to get to this point where.
Well, whatever the bowl, like say Discover Orange Bowl a couple of years ago, Clemson was in it. Discover made a lot of money on that Orange Bowl.
They did.
A lot of money through tickets and advertising, all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
And their players that were in the Orange Bowl, those are the guys playing in the Orange Bowl. Don't you think that the players kind of deserve some of the recognition?
And I think they get it.
I think they get the recognition because, I mean, there was times where, especially last season and this season, where you turn on SportsCenter and you would see Marty Smith reporting from Clemson, or you'd see a special on Deshaun Watson, or you'd see an interview with Dabo Swinney. I mean, in terms of media exposure, especially with the oversaturation of sports coverage that we have today called ESPN, I mean, let's be honest, I was watching a D3 basketball game last night. It was ridiculous. But these guys get their fair share of television. I'm serious. It was Howard against some other team.
By the way, that is D1,
one of the team's
but
records was like 5 and 20.
understand.
It was abysmal. But my point is, these guys are on TV. I mean, you turn on ESPN, no matter which ESPN it is, and especially when it was the college football playoff.
Deshaun Watson.
That's all they talk about.
Because they make a lot of money off of it.
But
It does, yeah.
They do. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, though, publicity and the way that they make their name in college. That's my biggest point. I think that in high school, they are given the opportunity to make their name in college, and that should transfer to the NFL, where then they can go and they can use that name to sell.
So you're saying
Why can't they just do that in college, though?
Because they're given so much publicity in college, like Jay said, on TV, everywhere, from the university as well. And I have to say, the university does make a lot of money off of all athletes, not just football, baseball, any type of sport.
Well, now there's some sports that run
football and basketball are really the only two main sports that
a
get
few
money.
that make money, but by and large, I'm pretty sure that most, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most teams run deficits.
It's a burden.
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of it is through Title IX and other things where they have to support a certain number of teams. But,
So
I can't get over the fact that you guys are going to restrict these guys from going and do something that every other person out there can do.
Yeah.
Just because they play football.
who's going to ask for my?
Well, what about if I was like a singer or something like that?
But the thing is the
Johnny
value
Manziel.
of my autograph does not compare to the value of, and it may not be like monetary. We don't have to say that it's monetarily.
So you're going to punish them for making up to this stage?
My point is this: if I sign a shirt, if I sign that helmet, and then Deshaun signs that helmet, which one to you is worth more? Sentimentally, the Deshaun
Obviously,
helmet is
Deshaun.
worth more.
Yeah.
He has been like you pointed out, he has been able to get to that level of recognition through the
grace of the university
and the foundation that they've laid out for those
so that's
players.
why.
Well,
It has nothing to do with the fact that he worked his tail off for all
the
those
foundation
years.
that they
So you're
put in
saying
place.
Deshaun Watson owes something to Clemson?
Exactly.
He doesn't owe anything to
doesn't
Clemson.
owe
I think it's a
anything to
He doesn't owe anything to Clemson.
I think that it's mutually. He owes Clemson, and Clemson owes him.
Yes.
Clemson owes him for him putting them on the map.
So what's
And
your
Deshaun
argument?
Owes Clemson for them putting him.
I mean, Deshaun
in a
could have won
setting-
anywhere.
In a setting to succeed, but in a setting to
and
succeed.
anywhere that he would have went, it would have been the same. They would have given, well, not the same university, but they would have given him a full ride. They would have given him however much it is for the 3.5 years he was here. They would have done this. It would have been
And a
the
lot
same.
of people don't even realize that a lot of the money that's taken from the income generated from, let's say, football, it's taken. I mean, yes, a lot of it goes to football. You see that new football facility, that wasn't cheap. But it goes to those other sports that run deficits. So we can maintain that and stay as a D1 institution.
Yes.
Within athletics.
And they do receive stipends. I mean, I won't overshadow that. They receive. I looked at this article. About $1,500 to $6,000 per athlete.
Yeah.
Over the course of their, I guess, however long they stay. But
Because, I mean, again, I understand the work that they put in the off season. I mean, I've been, I had workouts at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, it's a job.
Yeah.
It is a full-time, all year-round job for those guys, and they don't have time to go work at a local restaurant downtown to make a few extra bucks.
But they have time to
something
sign an
think about.
autograph.
Or
But
have
the
time
thing
to
is, they're
participate
being-
in an advertisement.
They're being,
There you go.
Like a TV ad.
So what is your argument? If I'm not using the best example, if I'm Johnny Manziel and I come up to Mark Emmert, the NCAA, the head of the NCAA, and I say, "Hey, Mark, I got an offer to be in an AT&T commercial. I can make $10,000 off of it. Why can't I go?" What's your argument? What are you going to say back to
Yeah,
him? Just
who
because you play
cares?
football, you can't go?
Any other entertainer, singer, musician, anything like that, they can do that.
Drake
Why
was
can't
going to Clemson-
Johnny Manziel do it?
If Drake goes to Clemson and he says, "Hey, I'm going to be in this advertisement. You guys okay with that?" Perfectly fine. What is the problem with Johnny Manziel going to do that versus one of us?
I mean,
I'm not being
Because
paid to go to
$10,000
this university.
Yeah,
I
that's
am
really
not being paid to go to this university.
Well, that was that. They didn't
So,
have to give them the
who
scholarship.
cares?
The university.
well.
just gave
Now, if they don't give him the
If they didn't
scholarship,
give him
he's
the
going to go somewhere else. Because let's be honest,
Well, that's
here,
just business.
I mean,
Exactly.
That's all this is.
That's all this
You
is.
talk about sports. I mean, sports is entertainment, and entertainment's a business.
But it
It's
is
about
very
the-
political.
It's
But this has
about the
nothing to do
bottom
with
line.
Clemson, though. Him going to do an advertisement affects Clemson in 0 ways.
It loses money for the
Possibly.
university.
I mean, it's,
How?
But he's going to do an advertisement just on his own. This is on his own time.
Yeah, it wasn't
he's
because he's a
endorsing.
star quarterback. They're like, wow, the star
Even though what
quarterback's
he's endorsing
advertising
is-
Cheerios or
Okay,
something
well,
like
we
that.
can restrain him from doing, certain advertisements. Like you can't go advertising
again,
EA Sports or something. I don't know.
I understand where you're
Here.
coming from, but again, with the scholarships that are provided to a lot of the star players, I can understand that not everybody's a huge hyped up star player coming out of high school. I get that. There's walk-ons, but when you look at someone like Deshaun, he had everything. I don't want to say laid out because that sounds like he was lazy, and he wasn't. But everything was made sure.
It was like a
everything was
puzzle.
tweaked in a way to where it was basically
Set up to
ensured.
succeed.
Set up to succeed. Exactly what I was going for. And
And he used his
you
opportunity.
and I mean, yes, exactly. You have to use the opportunity. But you and I, we're just kind of in the
There.
We're. I mean, yes,
We're
we're at
average
Clemson
Joes.
and we're trying to do. But my
Average
point
Joes.
is
I like
if
that.
we want a particular, get in a class or even do what. The struggle.
Yeah.
The class
Oh,
registration.
goodness.
That would be a perfect example. I mean, do you
goodness.
really think those players
No, of
worry
course they
about
don't.
what they're registered for, or
Some of them
when
don't even
they're
worry about
taking
classes
what?
in general, so,
No,
I mean-
no. Everything is managed and micromanaged for them to a T because it literally has to be. And like you said, average Joes, we don't get access to that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair? Yeah, I mean, I guess it is because they put in a lot of work. They're up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm in the bed. But do I think that, just because he has a really recognizable name and he happens to play football at this particular school that he should go out and be able to sign autographs? That's just kind of where you lose me because of all the foundational work put in place by the university.
I mean, basically to me, that just says, well, we're going to punish you because we're already giving you all this stuff. You can't go do it because we've already given you all this, and that's enough.
Something that anyone else in the entire world could just go out and do a commercial for someone. You can't do it in the NCAA.
Nobody's going to ask me to do a commercial.
Yeah, but if you're famous enough,
If you're
they will.
famous, if you're Deshaun Watson,
You've also been given that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson's taking
he
advantage
doesn't.
of that opportunity.
He's been given the opportunity as well.
to do what?
Deshaun Watson's a star football
To be
player.
at Clemson
He's good
and
enough
to
to go in an
be on the football
advertisement
team.
But what if he
and
wants
to
to
be
do
paid a
an
bunch of money.
He has to wait till he gets in the NFL.
So that's the thing. You're saying that he needs to work up to get to the NFL?
That's
I
exactly
can buy
what
that.
I'm saying.
Why?
I can buy that argument.
That's
Why?
exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that in high school, you are given the opportunity to make your name. College, you make the name. NFL, you use the name. That's exactly
Fair
how
enough.
it should be.
Yeah.
Because they're giving you the tools to make your name in college. I think that is the reason that the NCAA does this. I think it's a little cheap. I think that
Yeah,
they
it's all
really
about money.
They really do make a lot of money.
Oh,
off
they
this.
do.
They're being
But
greedy.
you got to think of the end result, dude. I beg to wonder what Cam Newton gets every year off of his
And
jerseys.
it doesn't even have to be a star. I mean,
No.
I just like a
Shoot.
good example of this would be Taj Boyd.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, maybe he'll go to the NFL. He might do somewhat well. He was on the Jets, the practice squad, I think, for like a season. Or
Sold
something.
a ton.
One of the CFL.
And something. And it ended up not working out for him. But the guy, I'm fairly certain he does like motivational speeches now, and like he has like some sort
He was
of.
at the
He's
Orange
a
Bowl
lot-
a
he's
couple
on
years
ESPN
ago.
a lot.
He
Is
does
he
a
not?
lot of like commentary guests. He'll come on and but my point is he would never have been allowed access to those opportunities if he hadn't have made a name for himself at Clemson. Even though he's not professional, he's not going to be the next Tom Brady. He was still put in a setting that allowed him to succeed in a future career, football or otherwise. And now he is able to reap the benefits of that.
That's true.
And I'm sure that he will always remain faithful to his alma mater
Oh, yes.
because he realizes the benefit of an education, because nobody can ever take that away from you.
No.
That once you get the diploma, you got the diploma. It's all and again the recognition. I mean, everybody knows who Taj Boyd is.
Yeah.
If you're
Well,
in the Clemson, right,
in the vicinity.
in the Clemson area. I mean, if Taj Boyd came to a game,
You're a
you
big
know
Jets
who
fan.
that is.
Now, Now, a lot more people probably know Deshaun just for the
Yeah.
publicity that
Well,
he got in the,
won a
of course, in the
national
national, two
championship.
national
But my
championships.
example-
Two
He's
He's
one of the
times.
best quarterbacks in the next
But the
draft.
example was that you don't have to be a star professional football
Yeah.
player just to have benefited from a university.
I just think that if only 5% of football players or any particular athlete are going to make it professionally, you should at least give them the opportunity now while they're getting the name recognition, while they're getting all this stuff, to at least make a little money maybe on the side for themselves. Because, I mean, like, Richard Sherman said a couple years ago, barely had money to eat pizza, on the weekends. So, I mean, they do receive stipends, but, if they can do this on their own, I don't see why you can take this away from them.
Let's talk about Hunter Renfrow, because I feel that he is a very special case. Hunter Renfrow was not recruited anywhere for football because he went to high school where they ran a wing T offense and he was a quarterback. So all that boy did was hand off the ball. But he can catch anything that's thrown to him. Anything. And what Dabo Swinney did, he said, you can come to Clemson and be a walk-on. No scholarship yet. He proved himself and he made that name, and what did they do?
Word of scholarship.
They gave him a scholarship. They
Same
said,
case
you
with-
can go here for free.
Same case with Teasdale.
Mhm.
We
Same-
interviewed
yep,
him
same case
last
with
year.
Teasdale.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't
I
even-
think that is wonderful.
Yeah.
He worked for that. And so they rewarded him.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm going to come out of college with not a ton of debt makes me very happy. So I can't imagine knowing that I'm coming out of college with zero. When there are people around this country coming out with over
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Think about somebody that's going to Wofford. 42,000.
Foreman is 60 something.
No, yeah, Foreman is the most
a lot.
expensive private school in South Carolina.
Yeah, by far.
60,000 a
Now,
year.
granted, private schools can give out more
They give-
scholarships
yes.
than public institutions, but
Still,
case in point,
even after, that's still
nobody has $250,000 to throw at college.
That's
So
insane.
I think that it's, and again, it's an ongoing debate that, I don't see a conclusion in the near future.
Yeah.
I think they're going to continue, and, obviously, like, things have developed recently, obviously the NCAA franchise, which has continued. I think they had talked about starting that
Talked
up
about
again,
moving it
but
back up, yeah.
trying to do different things. But I think we've kind of touched on all the different points that everybody had on that particular topic. But one of the things that we also want to talk about tonight is the Baylor, the ongoing
There's
issues
more to talk about
at
now.
Baylor. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the text messages that came out between Art Briles and former athletic officials at the school about trying to sweep misconduct by the players under the rug. But some of them are pretty damning. So I'll read a couple aloud just for example. A freshman defensive tackle was cited for illegal consumption of alcohol. Coach Briles sent a text message to an assistant coach. Hopefully he's under radar enough they won't recognize name. Did he get a ticket from Baylor Police or Waco? Just trying to keep him away from judicial affair folks. Then we've got an assistant coach notified Coach Briles of a claim by a female student athlete that a football player brandished a gun at her. Coach Briles responded, "What a fool," she reporting to authorities. The assistant coach texted back, "She's acting traumatized, trying to talk her calm now, doesn't seem to want to report though." Coach Briles texted, "You gonna talk to the player?" The assistant coach concluded, "Yes sir, just did. Called him on the way to class, squeezed him pretty good. The matter was never reported to judicial affairs." So, obviously, and that's just some of the examples. Doesn't look good for Briles. Doesn't look good for. There's a couple in here that are involved with the AD. Has he stepped down? Do you know off the top of your head?
He was
stepped
gone
down
a while ago.
And the university in general. I mean, I don't really see why you wouldn't just totally, from the ground up, start over with your athletic department.
And I think it's really
That's
too
what I'm
bad for the new
thinking, too.
coach. What were you gonna say?
That's what I'm thinking too. Just
Yeah.
fire everyone involved.
Yeah.
I think it's just too bad for the new coach. I mean, he came in after all this had unfolded, and we were like, okay, fresh new start. Baylor's already had everything taken care of. Let's see what goes from here. And then this comes up. It's like the Sandusky thing, which we're going to talk on later.
I know.
Penn State had moved on from it, and then suddenly we get more updates
Well,
about
this new thing isn't even really tied to Penn State.
Yeah,
It's
no.
it. Yeah, it's
just-
not, but it's still the name to go
Of
with
course,
it. So I
of
mean,
course.
I think-
it's really unfortunate.
I think that's unacceptable. I don't think you should be allowed to sweep anything under, and I think he needs to be reprimanded for it. Let's think about last year in the national championship game with Clemson, what happened to 2 players from Clemson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dabo had the opportunity to say, we're just going to sweep this under. And nobody's going to know.
And Dabo's been good about that over the years.
He told them that they weren't going to play in the national championship game. Now, how would you feel about that?
Well, Deion Kane thankfully got his redemption this year.
Yes, he did.
Well, it was Deion Kane and Amon Lampkin.
I think the other
Right.
guy
Like,
quit.
yeah.
Lampkin was for marijuana.
They were
Deion
both
Kane was
Kane's
violation of team rules, obviously.
Which was probably marijuana.
It was probably marijuana. as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the other one quit, though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
I think
sure.
Lampkin did, yeah.
But just all he had to do was make this decision, and that just would have changed everything.
Yeah, it speaks a lot to Dabo's character, and
Well,
you
how
know he
many-
talked about
It
that
also speaks a
before.
lot to his character.
Oh, Coach Browse, yes.
Yeah, Coach
I wonder
Browse,
how many
that's-
other organizations are like Baylor.
Oh, I'm
you
sure
know,
he's
sweeping
not-
under
I'm
the
sure
radar.
not.
You
I'm
can't
sure
be
he's not
naive
the
and
only
sit up
one.
here and go, "Oh, Baylor's just horrible," and the only ones that do this.
I mean, I'm
Doesn't
pretty sure that
everywhere.
every college coach does this at least once.
But
Or been pressured to.
But
It could be
brandishing
very-
a gun, like
Okay.
trying to, I mean, that's
Ooh,
when you,
whoa.
That's fishy.
yeah.
Whoa.
It's more than fishing.
Riles, especially looking for a new job after all this, it's going to be almost
gonna be
impossible at this point for him
difficult.
to find one.
Well, I thought it would have been really difficult for Petrino to get a job, and there he
Look at
ended
that,
up
though.
at Louisville.
Yes.
I mean, after all that went down there, I was like, ain't no way this guy's going to get picked up by a big name school.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's had Lamar there, and look at all the success.
I wouldn't put it past the university, though, with how successful he was at Baylor.
Well,
Oh,
Picking
yeah,
him up for more
somebody
than
will
they
pick him up.
Yeah.
Somebody will be desperate enough to pick him up, but
Do you
he's
think
good.
he'll
He'll
go
get
to the
hired.
NFL?
That's how it goes.
Do you think he'll go to the NFL? Do you think there's a possibility?
Maybe as
I
an
don't
offensive
think so.
coordinator.
Coordinator.
I don't think so.
coordinator, no way head coach.
Yeah, I don't think he'd go as head coach, but as a coordinator,
But maybe to move
that'd
out.
be interesting. Who picked him up?
Maybe to move out of what he went through with the NCAA. And,
Yeah, probably.
a little change of scenery. Yeah.
Moving on, though, our last topic of the night is we're going to look at Jerry Sandusky, the former Penn State assistant coach under Joe Paterno. His son Jeffrey was charged with child sexual abuse. He was charged with crimes involving 2 girls more than 5 years after Elder Sandusky Sr. was arrested on those molestation charges. So, not a good look for anybody involved.
Not at all. And, like you said, it wasn't really tied to Penn State, but the name itself, Sandusky,
Yeah.
if it's back in the news, obviously first people are going to think of Penn
Yep,
State. So
Penn
it's
State.
unfortunate. Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the last in the family line we have with the Sanduskys that commit this crime going in the future. But, yeah, just very disappointing.
Yeah, not really anything else to bring
say.
up. I mean, it's just obviously it was making headlines in college football. It's unfortunate. I'm looking here on the ESPN site, and again, we've kind of touched on this a couple of times. It's not really tied to Penn State, but yet right underneath the headline, it's got Penn State Nittany Lions tagged to it. So,
I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, and that just has to be extremely frustrating for Penn State fans who, coming off of a great season, a great,
Wonderful season. I
great
thought that they should have
season.
been in the top Final Four.
And to have this now, it's opening old wounds, and it's unfortunate, but
It just seems like the legacy just keeps getting tarnished.
Yep.
And this is indirect.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so sad.
So lots of different things NCAA-wise, scandals from debates about whether to pay college athletes.
there's always something to talk about.
Even in the offseason.
That's for sure. But it's been fun, fellas. Thanks to Alex Pierce for joining us and Adam Pehowski. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us. So for Bradley Kendall, for Alex and Adam, I'm Jay Smith, and this has been After Further Review.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.